Anyway, man, so you in what, LA right
I'm
now?
in LA right now. I
Are you
am.
here for work or you just
I'm here for work,
visit?
yeah. So I'm working on the Blue Note show with
Mm.
Lizzo at Lizzo Beating.
Oh, amazing.
Yeah. So it's pretty cool.
Is that like a condensed show, or is she doing pretty full on minus the major production side of it?
It is a condensed show, so it's taking some of her songs and other songs, making it a jazz version to fit the Blue Note model, so to speak.
Right,
And
yeah,
it's
yeah,
pretty cool.
yeah.
It's stripped down. It seems like it feels like it would be an easy show, but it's really hard show because there's a lot of
Yes.
acoustic instrumentation on the stage, and bringing a pop artist from that world into the jazz world is very hard because they have to kind of switch, and everybody wants to hear certain things, and it's different. It's different.
Yes.
The Blue Note Room is not what you would think it is. So,
No, bro, fact. I feel like every show that people think is supposed to be easy, it's never
it's the
easy.
hardest show ever. The
Always. I
hardest
don't
show
know
ever.
what that is. Like
Yeah.
stripped down acoustic show. They're like, "Oh, it's
Oh, it's
fine." It's like,
fun. No, it's not. No,
"No,
it's not.
no,
No.
we
No.
we need some
No.
time." Bro,
Yeah.
real LA is kinda sweet though, like, the room itself is fire.
It's dope.
Like, whoever designed
It's
that,
dope. Yes. Yes. It's
it's
definitely
very different than New
it's
York.
very different from New York. It's very different from New York. I kinda wish we would've done New York first and then came to LA. And we're doing it backwards. We're
Really?
doing LA first and then going to New York. Well, the stage in New York is smaller. That's for one.
Yes,
And
much
then
smaller.
for two, it's just a different vibe, right? New York is the OG vibe, and
Yes.
LA is new. So everything is new. So uh,
Yeah, I feel like New York's a very eclectic crowd too,
so eclectic. So eclectic.
and
Yeah.
LA is LA,
LA is
you
LA.
know?
Yes, yes, right. You're gonna get the stars out here. People love music, but they're more superstars, they're more fans. New York is
Yep.
musicians for real. So
Yeah,
it's
real. Yep,
and
yep.
they're real like real jazz heads too. So it's
Massive. Like, you're getting instructors from different
for
universities coming
sure.
out, like,
For sure.
it's a lot of that,
For sure.
but
For sure.
you've done both so
I've
far,
done
right?
both. Yeah, yeah, we did I've done it a couple times, but we I did it with Common. The most recently we did Common and Pete Rock last year in the Blue Note in New York,
Cool.
and that was really interesting. It was really interesting.
Where's Common from?
He's originally from Chicago, and
Okay.
then he's now lives in New York because he's been in New York forever doing that.
I'm about to say, my brain said he's from New
Yeah, yeah,
York.
yeah, yeah, yeah. He got that vibe.
You
He
know,
got that vibe. Yeah,
he
yeah,
does,
yeah.
but in, like, a more sophisticated
Very,
vibe,
very.
not the harsh East Coast
Right,
energy
right,
that
right. Yeah,
we get so
yeah,
accustomed to,
yeah,
but that's a vibe, man.
yeah. Good
First of all,
people.
thanks for being here, bro.
Thanks for having me.
Like, it means a lot. So for people who don't know who you are, can we give it, like, a brief history of who Tim is?
Man, yikes. Tim is
And be arrogant about this, please.
oh gosh, arrogance. Tim is originally from New York. I grew up in a small town called Newburgh. It's about 60 miles north of the city. It's actually really New York, okay? So let's get
New
this right.
Yorkers always arguing this
Let's get this
nonsense.
right, okay? Um,
You gotta explain this after, 'cause I don't understand y'all's beef. Yeah, I don't get it. I don't understand why y'all beef with other New Yorkers.
it's a beef. It's a beef. It's a beef.
It's a real
Yeah,
beef
yeah,
though. It's
yeah.
not even on some lighthearted stuff.
Well,
Y'all will argue people
the
down.
funny thing is, we'll get back to the question, but the funny thing is, it's when you say you're from New York, people automatically assume you're part of the five boroughs, right? And
Yes,
then if you say no, then they automatically take you and put you in Buffalo. And
immediately.
there is 5 hours or 7 hours between Buffalo and New York City. There's a lot of land. So soon as you say
Yeah,
upstate, they're putting you way past the Bronx and they're throwing you up in Buffalo. It's
that's a fact.
not so. So I'm only about an hour away from the city, so not that far. And then so I was up there. I was born in Long Island, and I my family moved to Newburgh. I grew up there. I grew up in a church, so church kid. Started
Yeah.
playing drums when I was 5, and then
Killing, by the way.
then I moved from that. I went to a little bit of sound. I did some trumpet. I played trumpet for about 10 years or so. Moved from that into the sound field, still playing drums. I started playing drums full time, and that got me on a couple of gospel gigs, and I was it was cool.
Right.
At that time, was trying to pivot and trying to figure out what I wanted to do, and I met one of I have, my bigger brother, Gordon Campbell. He was growing up
Mhm.
he born and raised in Newburgh, moved to LA, and he, of course, everybody knows what Gordon has done. His accolades is crazy. And
It's
so
insane.
I would always come out here, and so he was like, "Man, you just move to LA." So after a while, I had met another friend of mine, Chris Lee, and he was like, "It's time for you to move to LA." So I came out, moved to LA, and
To be a musician.
to be a musician, to be a drummer.
Okay.
And I got out here and I started realizing, well, okay, big fish, big fish, small pond out there, big pond, small fish out here. Everybody out here
Right.
is playing, everybody out here. And I was on a fast track. I was a little older, and
Mhm.
I just had different things I wanted to get done. And I'm looking at it and I was like playing in churches, and I'm like, this is not cutting it. If I was in my early 20s, I'd been cool. I'd have been
Right.
happy. I would have been
Yep.
great. But I said,
Sure.
I really need to fast track to make to make money. And then everybody knows what LA is. When I moved out here, LA was not cheap anymore. I don't know if it's ever been cheap,
Sure. Yeah.
but it was really, really,
Yeah.
really expensive. It was on the up and up. So I said, my buddy said to me, he said, look, I can't get you drum gigs. I ain't the drummer. He said, but what I can do is I can get you some sound gigs. I know you do sound. I said, I do sound as well. So I started in that,
Right.
and that became my career. It it kind of set me to a different area
Yeah, for sure.
in my life, in my brain, and I started doing sound, and I started the church. Again, went back to church, started sound, and then left from there, and then started doing more things on the road. And then it just progressed from there. I was been fortunate to work with a lot of artists, a lot of big artists. I've worked with
Yeah.
a lot of amazing musicians, and I feel like my career is kind of unfair because I've been around a lot of good people, so it's made what I do enjoyable
Sure.
because I'm able to still be close to the stage. I'm able to still talk the lingo. I'm able to still be around, but
Yes, sir.
on the other side. And so I always consider
Yeah.
myself the other wow. I always consider myself the other part of the band. If there's 4 players
Right.
on the stage, I'm the 5th guy. There's 3, I'm the
Yes, sir.
4th guy. And so I'm always an extension of the stage. So being able
Right.
to work with great MDs, work with great musicians, great artists, it's been cool. It's been really cool. Some of the artists that I've worked for, Common, currently with Will Smith, Janet Jackson, Reneé Rapp, did some stuff for Lizzo. I've done stuff for Earth, Wind& and Fire, Mariah
Yeah.
Carey. It goes on.
Yeah.
It's been great. It's been good. It's been good. I can't
Yeah.
complain. I can't complain at all. You know,
Heck yeah.
it's
I think you're so dope because you decided early on, and maybe later than what most people come out to LA for, but early in your LA experience, you're like, look, drumming is cool, and that's what I came out here to do, but I'm here to make this money and get to a real career in a life.
yeah,
So
yeah,
pivoting to sound full time, even by force or
yeah,
desire, whatever that
yeah,
was, you did what you had to do. But I love what you've accomplished because you decided to diversify yourself off your instrument.
yeah,
And
yeah.
I think that's something that more people should understand because most musicians don't just do one thing.
Right,
They might
right.
play multiple instruments, but they might dabble in sound, they might dabble in playback, they
Yeah,
might do, other things. And I think that's one of the things that your testimony is so valuable on, because you're still seeing the world,
yeah, yeah.
you're still being a part of this, but you're also the piece that most people forget about.
Mhm.
It doesn't matter what we play. unless you
100%,
get
100%.
it out to the
Yeah, no, you're right.
audience, you
You're
know?
right. You're right. You're right.
Do you think being a musician has really helped your ear being a front of house engineer?
100%. 100%
Okay.
because I know placement really well. I know where things should be. I also funny story, with this current gig that I'm on, there's a piece that she is doing that's a classical piece. And the we were in rehearsal and the MD, she had asked for certain things to happen in certain points and times in that piece that I needed to do, push some effects and push some things to kind of help grow the song. And the MD says to me, tells me what to do, tells me the part, and I'm shaking my head, okay, I got it. And he says, jokingly, he says, I'm going to give you the score so you can read it. I was like, perfect. That's amazing. Give me the score and I'll read it. And he looks at me
Right.
like, are you serious? I was like, yeah, no, give me the score. That'll actually help me. And I was like,
Yes, sir.
what measure should I do these pushes at? And he gives me the bars. And so I have the score right by my console and I'm following along and reading. So stuff like that helps because I'm able to go back into my training
Right.
and
Yeah.
and help do my job. It
Absolutely.
also helps with, like I said, with placement. It also helps with being able to talk the lingo, being able to know what the musicians, what the MD wants before it's even said. It's
Yeah.
all that stuff, where I'm gonna put band members, where I'm going to. It also helps in the aspect of production management as well, because
Yes, sir.
it's weird because how people set stages sometimes is they'll put a if the keyboard player is a right-handed, sometimes they'll put them on stage right, which is bad because you naturally want to look this way when you're working,
Oh,
right?
okay.
And
Yeah.
if you are directing the band and you're looking this way, well, now you got to look this way, and that's not natural to you. So when you set
Sure.
the stage, you want to set so the drummer, if the drummer's playing, he's right-handed, he wants to look this way. So
Every time. Yeah.
it's easier if the drummer's on stage right as opposed to stage left, because if stage left, he has to turn his whole body if he's really. So it also being able to know how musicians think and things like that is really helpful in my area as front of house and
Yeah.
also as monitor engineer. It's you're
Right.
able to quickly set up mixes in there because you know where the bass should sit, you know where the drum should sit, you know the relationship between these two, and those are things that you just don't fight with because you just kind of, it's off the top of your head and
Yeah.
you're already, it's ingrained
Right.
in you. So there are
Sure.
certain things that helps in my field being a musician that I don't feel like I have the hurdles that other engineers have. They may
Mhm.
excel in different areas, but in the area of knowing music, being able to learn the music, being able to learn, that's the main thing I do in rehearsals. I don't just sit there and push sound. I also learn the arrangements. If you watch any of my videos, you'll see that
Yeah, your videos are great.
you'll see that I'm learning the arrangements. I'm learning the hits. I'm learning the cuts because that all helps with translating to the artist. I mean, to the audience, what what they're trying to portray. So if
Absolutely.
I know where the hits are going to be, it helps clear space for other things because I can keep things back until it's time to push. I don't always have to have everything coming at you. I can bring things back, let that vocal
Sure.
shine until, well, there's a guitar solo or there's a key push in this part. So I know it. I know where
Right.
it's at. So it helps. Being a musician
So
really
you
helps.
so so you don't set it and forget it?
No. No, 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 no. No, 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 no. I'm always moving something.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, there's very few things that I set and forget, right? Like I'll set
Sure.
my drums I'll set and forget. And once I get my foundation, once I get my drums and I get my bass, I'm not touching it. I'm not moving that stuff during the show because when you walk in, I view a show as an experience. You set the tone at the top of the show, right? You set what the show is going to sound like at the top. I don't
Yes,
like
sir.
going to shows and you hear things moving in and out. You, I don't like that, and it's unfortunate these days with these consoles and everybody got snapshots that they're actually changing the whole integrity of the show. as opposed to
Yeah,
giving you pieces of it. I love to mix the record. That's my biggest thing. Mix the record has to sound, the show has to sound like the record, right? So each song has to sound like the record. But what I'm not doing is I'm not moving my kick drum up and down. I'm not moving my bass up and down. Those things are the foundation of the show. So it's there. I'll
right.
bring in the record elements, but for the most part, everything is there, but I'm not setting and forgetting and just walking away and just, oh, it's cool.
Yeah.
No, I'm massaging and giving you what you are used to hearing. I'm giving you that. I'm bringing back that nostalgia that you want to have,
Mhm.
right? When you listen to a record, I want when you walk into a show and that in your song comes on, I want you to remember where you were when you first heard the song. I want you to feel
Yeah,
that, right? And I think that's what brings the audience joy is when they can come to the show and they're not trying to figure out what song this is because, as MDs and musicians, we do the arrangements, right? The arrangements come in and the arrangements are cool, but not everybody understands that. The arrangements are
sure.
for the upper echelon of people, right? Right. They're the
Yeah.
musicians, the
Yep,
creatives. Those are the people
yep,
that we do the arrangements for. But the normal person that listens to music, they're not listening to, they don't know the different arrangements. They know certain parts and they know what the song sounds like. So
absolutely.
that's my job is to bring balance to everything and give the musicians what they want, but also give the audience what they want to hear. So yeah. No
No, I
setting and
love
forgetting.
that. No set and forget.
Nah.
I'm with that. There's something that a lot of audio engineers will do, and you mentioned this with snapshots.
Mhm.
You don't have any
I
snapshots?
do. So
Okay,
I have tons of snapshots. There was one band that I worked for that I had about 300 snapshots because
whoa,
it was 8 of them on the stage, 8 open mics on the
okay,
stage, and the way they worked were they would rap, but it was every 4 bars was a different person. So I had to snap that and I had to do that. So I do a lot of snapshots. Even in my regular shows, there are quite a few snapshots, but my snapshots are not, they don't include s- a lot of things. They'll include effects, some rides, they'll include some kind of, I'll do different compression for certain songs. Most of the artists that I work for have careers that span over 30 years, right?
right.
I don't, there's the younger pop artists that are coming up, they, their music is newer. So you can kind of just keep it there. But a lot of
Yeah,
the legacy artists, their career spans over 30 years plus, right?
it's a
So
lot of
it's a
music.
lot of music to cover and it's a lot of things to translate. So you
Sure.
gotta be able to, their records are different. Like, anything that's past early 2000s, sometimes the producers don't have them. You can't go to the record labels ain't got them.
Yep,
So, unfortunately, we got to go on Moises stuff and we got to
yep,
take things out and we got to do stuff. So now you got to really manipulate it to make it fit now, but still give that nostalgic feeling, right? So
sure.
I use snapshots, but I use them in a way where it's a more of a creative tool. It's
Mhm,
also, it also helps me because it's my set list, right? So I don't
sure.
have to get a paper set list all the time. I can see, especially if I'm on tour, I know what's coming up. But I'll run it. I can run a show without a snapshot, right? I can
Okay.
sit there because I'm not doing, my gain structure is correct, and we can get into all that later. But
Sure.
I do things the correct way, so I don't have to do a lot of manipulation. But
Right,
for I use my effects that will be different. My compression will be different. I'll bring some elements up, things that I can't get to quickly. I'll
sure.
make sure I do that. My foundation doesn't move, but I always, my mutes and things like that, I use my snapshots for. So
That's
yeah.
fine.
Hmm.
So you just integrate them a little differently than what
Yes.
most may, but you're
Yes.
still utilizing the resource of having a
Definitely
snapshot.
utilizing the resource of having a snapshot. Sometimes it just keeps me involved in where I'm at in the show. So
Yeah, it keeps you from checking out sometimes, you know what I
Yeah,
mean? Like,
yeah, 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 yeah.
autopilot is a thing,
Autopilot
but
is a thing, and
yeah,
it's I come from the old school, so I started mixing on analog consoles, and I started in the studio
right,
as well. So we didn't have snapshots back then, so you had to learn the show, you had to know the show, and you had to know what you were doing. So I still like
right.
to touch things, and I still like tactile surfaces and things like that. I don't really
Yeah,
like to not engaged. I think, all my delay throws, I do it myself, and I'm really I've gotten musical with my delay throws, so you'll always know I'm
yeah.
mixing because you'll hear something in the show that's a delay throw. I gotta find it. I
I
gotta,
love that.
so
Yes, sir. I think that's amazing. Are you one of those cats that has figured out a way to integrate the new technology with an old school methodology?
Absolutely, absolutely. I
Okay,
believe in it.
I love
I
that.
believe in it. I think it's all tools that we should use. I don't necessarily feel that we should completely go to it and hands off, but I feel that
Sure.
everything is a tool in the toolbox, you know? If you're a
Yeah,
construction worker, you have everything you need to build a house. If you are a general contractor, that's what you knew. If you're a roofing guy, if you are a electrician, you have everything in your
yeah.
toolbox to build and do your job. Same thing with audio. All this stuff is there for us as tools. I don't rely on it, but also I've immersed myself in learning what things do so that I use the right tools.
There you go.
I just don't do things for show. I don't just have things up. I just don't have a bunch of gear up and I'm
Yeah,
like, okay, this is what I'm gonna do. It's everything I do is on purpose and by design so that I know where to go when things go wrong because that's the biggest thing is these things fail. That's how it
yeah,
is. And so I don't just put up things to be cool, right? Or look
right.
cool or look like I don't want people to, oh man, look at he got everything is
Mhm.
by design from the way I choose my mics to the kind of console I use to the outboard gear I use to the plugins that I use. Everything is by design. Um, when I'm doing a Janet Jackson show, I'll order things that they used in the studio, right? The
Mm,
H3000, things that they use to get the sound that she wants. So I'm able to recreate that sound. I won't put a
yeah,
H3000 on a newer artist or a different artist because that doesn't apply to that.
sure.
But yeah, I use all kinds of stuff. I use AI stuff now. A lot of the
Dope.
wave stuff is AI and it's quicker than me, right? It's gonna hear way
Sure.
faster than I can hear. So why
Yeah,
not use that tool and integrate it so that it makes my job easier, right?
yeah. Efficiency is key, and
Efficiency is
at
key.
the end of the day, I think people need to understand that
Yes,
getting across the finish line is important.
100%.
You know, that nothing is up there for the hype.
No, right.
Even even some of the drum stuff I see people doing, I'm like, "Man, did you need all
You
that?"
didn't need it.
You
You
know?
don't need it.
You really
Yeah,
didn't.
yeah, no,
But understanding the purpose behind it is something that you're intentional about, and I love that, and
yeah,
it shows. It
yeah.
really shows that you care. Like, you mentioned your videos earlier, and I think people need to go watch those because 'cause they're so entertaining, but they're also amazing.
Oh man, thank you,
You're
thank you,
entertaining, but the music sounds phenomenal,
thank you, thank you,
and
thank you.
that's just amazing. Now, there's something you talked about earlier is you were working with the MD that was asking you to do specific things.
Hmm.
Now, I would love for you to talk about your relationship in general with music directors
Hmm.
being at front of the house,
Right,
because you are now translating their vision.
right.
You have
Yep.
to bring that to life. So what does that look like for you? Are you having conversations prior to, like, what is your process for understanding where they're going and then getting that message out to the audience?
Okay, so that's we start off to answer that. You have to start off with relationships, right? The first thing I do is I always make sure I connect with people, my band members, my MD personally, right? Eh, When we walk in the room, I'm talking to everybody, greeting everybody. Hey, how you doing? I'm Tim. I'm gonna be at front of house for you today. Is there anything you would like for me to do? I'm gonna hear the song, but yes, I always final before the artist gives me their approval, I'm always going to the MD. Hey, I want you to listen to this. Come check this out. Listen to what I'm doing. See where we're at. I like to get their input. What do you want to hear? Is there
Okay.
okay? And then also I give them my input. Hey, could we do this? This is going to help. I know where you're going for. This I feel will help translate. I'm not doing their job. I know where my place is, right? I'm not gonna,
Sure.
hey, do this. And it depends on the MD. Some MDs like the interaction. Some MDs would love likes people to come in and kind of help them out. But then other MDs know what they want, and you kind of got to stick to that
Yeah.
system or structure. But you also,
Sure.
I also make sure that I talk to them and give them my point of view and get their point of view. Uh, on this last tour that I was on, I had the MD. I it was We went several shows, and I was struggling with getting the show was loud to me, and it was
Mm.
on the louder side of where I like to mix. And I like
Okay.
to mix impactful. My mix sounds loud, but it's not.
Yeah.
It's just, but I kept on. To me, it was just loud, and if it's loud to a
Okay.
front of house guy, it's loud, period. And I don't know why people
Sure.
think that it doesn't translate, but it really does. Like, if it's loud, it's
Yeah.
loud. There's nothing to do
It's
about
just
it. It's
loud.
just loud. So, and you
Sure.
can't enjoy a show that's loud, right? It's like it's too much. And so I felt that it was loud, and I kept on telling the MD, I kept on saying, man, I just feel the show is loud. And he's like, I trust you. I trust you. I was like, I know you do, but I really want you to come out front and listen to it. And he came out
Okay.
and he listened to it, and he's like, okay, yeah, yeah, yeah. It's a little loud. And we
Mhm.
sat there, we kind of went through every aspect of the song and the show, and we kind of took out things, and we found out that we were doubling things, and things were getting played. He was playing things, and the band was playing things that were already in the tracks, and so we kind of picked and choose what we wanted to use,
Yeah.
and we
Yeah.
brought the show down. The show came down to a manageable level, and it felt good for all of us. But
Great.
I didn't want to make those choices without including the MD, because some people do that. Like, I hear some guys, they'll say, "Well, I'm replace the drums. I'm gonna do sound replacement and do things like that." And I'm like, does the drummer know that you're replacing his stuff? Because
Oh,
these
no.
guys choose their things based on, they do the same thing we do, right? They know they're
Yeah.
getting a show, they know they're getting a thing. They're choosing the snare drum, the type of snare drum they want based on the records they gotta play. They're choosing the cymbals
Yes.
based on the records they gotta play. So,
Yes.
if I just, as a front of house guy, just start replacing their sounds and they don't know what I'm doing, it's not we're not working as a team, right? And then you guys are playing something that you think you're playing, but it's not being translated out there. So, what I wound up doing was, what I love to do is get the MDs involved. I love to get the band members involved, especially if I'm having a problem with my bass player. Say if my bass player is kind of all over the place and he's not really playing, what's the word I want to use? He's not consistent, right? You have some bass players that are really good. They're amazing,
Yeah.
but they don't know how to play. They can play really good jazz gigs, or they can play really good club gigs, or they can play really good theater gigs. But then when it comes to arenas and
Yeah.
stadiums, it's a different type of gig, right?
Different beast. Yes.
You have some drummers that are really good. They can play a lot of notes, and you'll watch them, and the flash is there, the pizzazz is there, but all that stuff doesn't translate when it comes to a bigger room, a bigger space, and all that volume, right? And
Yes,
when
sir.
you're sitting out in front of a PA, 30-second notes and 64th notes and triplets and all that stuff does not translate. you
Nope.
know,
Power chops all
Power
day.
chops,
All day.
all that
That's
stuff. And
it.
it's like, yeah, we call it old man playing, right? I love old man playing, right? Because
Me too.
I it's great. It's amazing. It's
It
amazing.
just feels right all the
Feels right.
time.
It
That's
feels
the
right. It
thing.
feels right. And then, of course, when they get the space to do what they need to do, then we can create that moment, and it's not in the midst of a lot of other things happening, right? So, um that's one of the things. Like if you the latest video that I put on my page shows
Which was fire, by the
it
way.
shows the difference
Fire.
of how, right, it shows the progression of a song. It's a ballad that is vocals and piano that starts off, right? And
Yeah.
so I'm using
Yep.
verbs and I'm using delays to kind of grow the song, and then we go from that into a drum solo, right?
It take off.
Takes off. It just goes.
Take
And
off.
he's
Yeah,
playing
yes, sir.
every note that he could possibly play in this song. But what we're able to do is grow the song and make the song into that and give him his moment that he can play all those notes. But if you listen to the actual record, he's not playing that, you know? So it's a thing, right? It's a thing where I love to talk to musicians and show them, hey, listen, if you do this, I can help you here, right? Or you can help me.
Sure.
This is what I need you to do to help me so that I can make you sound amazing, right? There's just different
Yeah.
things. I always want people to walk in and have and be enamored by the musicianship, right? So I feel like eh, younger musicians coming in, they're talented, they're great. Let me help with my experience give you what the older guys gave me, right? And
Yes, sir.
how they became great. This is what they did, and this is how they play the stuff. Yes, when you see them at Big Potato or you see them at Gold Diggers, they are going
Yeah.
for blood, right? But when you
Yep.
see them on the road with these artists, they're not going for blood because they're playing the record. They're playing what they need to play. And so that's what makes them great, you know. So
Yeah. No,
it's
that's great.
yeah,
I think the way you're approaching that is phenomenal. You're getting everyone involved
absolutely.
with no ego
No
involved.
ego.
It's
Yeah. Yeah.
yo, this is just what we got to do to make this what it needs to be. So how are you having these types of conversations when things are maybe not ideal, right? Because you just described the most ideal situation where
Mhm.
everybody's
Yeah.
okay and yeah, no
Yeah.
problem, I got you.
Mhm.
That's not the reality all the
Yeah.
time. You get people who are tired, they get emotional, and it's our gift.
Mhm.
We get attached to the
Mhm.
thing. So how are you approaching that conversation? When you have someone, maybe let's just use a drummer. I'm a
Mhm.
drummer. You had to talk to me, and it's like, yo, Jay, that 8 inch is getting in the way of whatever. How do you approach that conversation? Because that is a conversation.
Mhm. Uh, just like you would approach it if you were playing sports. People who are
Okay.
difficult to me, people who don't want to, because not everybody knows what you do, right? Like somebody may walk on,
Sure.
they see me, they don't know what I do. And I don't walk in the room and have all my artists on my shirt and, I'm this Mr. Hibbert, and da da da, you know. So I walk into
Yeah.
the room and they don't know who I am. So the tape doesn't lie though, right?
Sure.
Tape don't lie.
Yep.
Just like if you're
Ever.
watching sports, you may think that you're killing. And it's funny because you see these musicians and they'll play a show, and we've done it, we're playing and we think we're killing, and then you go back and you
Yeah.
listen to tape and you're like, whoa.
Yikes.
Tape don't lie. So I record everything.
Okay.
I record if I'm on the monitor side, I'm not only recording the show, I'm recording each individual band mix, right? So so you can hear what you're listening to. So, when the band member says, "Well, I can't hear this," okay.
I might be asking for that from now on, just so you know, Doc.
But it's good to do because you're able to study what you're playing, right? And I
Yeah.
always go back. I'm like, hey, man, I'll never tell you what to play, right? That's not my job. My job is not to tell you. That's the MD's job. The MD's
Yep.
job is to tell you what to play and how to play it. My job is to place that in the song, right?
There you go.
So if that 8 inch is getting in my way, what I'll do is I'll talk to you. I can definitely talk to a drummer as a drummer, right?
Sure.
So my biggest thing is, and I have a few friends that they can attest to this. I'll tell you my opinions on drum heads. I'll tell you my opinions
Mm,
on cymbals. Tell you my opinions how it fits into the song, how it fits into this. I'm not telling you what to play. That's not my job. But what I'll do is say, "Hey man, for these for this artist, right? This is we're playing something that these songs were in the 90s, right? So I think your tuning's a little too low. You need to come up on the tuning
Mm.
because that's how it was. It was like
Yeah,
that's
100%.
how those songs were. So you can't give me you can't give me those flat tones. Or we're playing hip hop, we're playing R&B, we're playing hip hop music, we're playing rap. I don't need those tones. You got to deaden your stuff a little bit. Give me
There you
bigger
go.
sizes. Give me stuff that translates in this genre, and I'll help give my 2 cents there. But I always do it off mic, right?
Yes, sir.
You know, I'm not going to embarrass nobody. I'm not going to sit there and go up and, hey man, you need to do this, do this. No, I'll when we have time after we develop a relationship, again, a relationship. After we
Mm.
develop a relationship. And once cats know, oh, he plays or okay, he gets it. Then
Sure.
I can talk about it. And then I'll help in that aspect because again, the artist and the artist management wants to hear the record. They do not
That's
want to hear.
it.
I've been with artists, they don't even want to hear the band. So they want to see the band up there. They want the band energy, but they don't want to hear the band.
Yeah.
So my
They wanna
job
have
is
'em.
to
Yeah.
balance that because they want to hear their records. You know, some of these artists, they diamond records and platinum records. They don't, and none of that had drums on it, and none of it had guitar on it, and none of it had the
That's a
stuff that we
fact.
put in it. It was as bare bones as it was, and it made diamond, right? So why? What makes you think
Yeah.
that your drum set's gonna make their record better? They don't
There you
care.
go.
So
They had
what
yep.
you what I have to do is, okay, well, it does bring energy. The band does bring energy. It does bring that. So how can we make that fit in this record and make it sound good, make it still sound like the record, make it still sound like something that we need to make it sound like,
Right.
but not highlight you because you know what? If I highlight you, 9 times out of 10, you're gonna lose your job. I promise you. Right?
Yes.
I promise you
Yes.
because
And not 'cause you're doing something
it's not
wrong.
just doing something
It's
wrong. It's just that it's not what they want, and they're gonna
yeah, you sound
you
wrong.
sound wrong, you know. And
Yep.
if you don't sound right, they're gonna be like, "Well, do we really need drums? Do we really need a guitar
Every
player?"
time. Every time, yo.
You
Because all
know,
they see is a dollar
and
sign and an
they
inconvenience.
see a dollar sign, and I don't even like
That's
it.
it.
You know,
That's right.
so
Yo, that is a fact.
it's 100.
Oh, it's
percent
so true.
Yeah. So let's work together so that I can create space for you, so that you can
Yeah,
continue getting a check. Because that's what it's all about, for real. You know,
there you go.
yeah.
You make it a team sport.
It's a team
You
sport.
know, you're not approaching this like, "I need you to do this," or, "I want you to do this." It's like, "Look, if I can I offer a suggestion?"
Yeah.
You know, and
Yeah.
prosing it that way, and
Yeah.
that's the least combative way to approach that
Yes.
every time.
Yes. Yes.
Where did you learn that? Was that by experience or, were you always kind of a melancholy kinda guy?
No, no, no. I was the complete opposite, right? I had a temper.
Oh,
I had
okay.
a really bad temper.
Got it.
And it helped me I think it helped me to slow down a little bit as
Mm,
I got older. What I started learning was most of it came in the studio. I remember when I first went into the studio, we went in, I brought all my drums, I set all my drums up and I was ready to go. And it took me forever to record this song. And the studio engineer was just like, "All right, come here and go take a walk, take a break, come back." And then I took the break and I came back and I played it, got the song, got it through, and we're finished. And then he sat me down and he kind of told me, he said, "Listen, these are the things that I see." He's like, "You're doing too much." Because when I came in, I set up my whole entire drum set and I had everything, you know, 5
yeah, the works.
toms, I had 3 snares and cymbals everywhere. He's like,
Right.
"You don't need all that, man." He's like, you're making a record, right? The record doesn't need all that stuff. You can literally play." And so I started learning how to it really helped me because he brought me in, sat me down, told me some things. And then being around other seasoned um engineers and musicians, watching how
Sure.
they work with people and seeing what you like and what you don't like, right? Watching how
Yeah.
people treat other individuals, you're like, well, I don't want to be like that, you know? And I never
Yes,
wanted to
sir.
be the sound guy that was this disgruntled sound guy, right? Because it's easy to get like that. Like, oh, the musicians, they're blah, blah,
Yeah.
they don't want to listen. And I didn't want to do that. It's like I come from I come from church background, right? I was, raised in church. My dad was pastor, so I was a pastor's kid. And so I was teaching has always been around me. So teaching is something that comes very easy for me. So I like to impart and I like to help people be better. And so that's literally what my first thing is to teach someone, is to show someone what I know, because again, I'm not here forever, right? But I do want to leave an impact and I do want to help the next person that's into this position, because you're only hot for so long, right?
Yep. Facts.
You're only going to be doing this for so long. And so what you have to do is impart it to other people and teach other people. So I really took a step back from being selfish and saying, oh, this is what I know and this is what I'm doing, to really teaching, simplifying my setup for a reason, for a reason, because if I can simplify my setup, then I can show people that it can be done consistently, right?
Yeah.
And also show people what it takes to do your job consistently, and what it takes for people to trust in your abilities and trust in what you say, right? So I started really learning how to build relationships with people. And
Yeah.
that was the biggest thing for me, is to build relationships and talk to guys. I mean, you be cool on
Yeah.
and off the
Be
court,
cool.
right?
Yes, sir.
And when it's go time, it's go time. I'm not playing around. When it's go time, it's go time. I don't like unprofessional people. I don't like unprofessional musicians. There are a
Yep.
lot of musicians out there that are really, really, really amazing, And when you come to LA, you are in the 95 percentile of great musicians, right? Everybody can play.
Straight
And you
up.
can always tell someone who just came, because there's just a level that they just haven't hit yet. They may be amazing,
Yeah.
they just haven't hit that
Yep.
level yet. And
Yep.
so learning how to deal with those kind of people, but not be frustrated, right? When someone comes in and they're not that level, learning how to say, okay, well, let's work through this.
Sure.
Let's see what we can do. Let's see how we can make you great, right? Because
Mhm.
there's there's a need for it. There's always new artists. There's always new this. So I try to work with musicians and artists if I can.
Yeah.
Artists are a little harder because they have the management protection, they have the barrier. I'm the artist, don't talk to me.
Yeah, they got a team. Yeah.
They got a team that you
Yep.
gotta deal with, but even
Yep.
still, hey, man, this is how you hold the mic. This is what you do. You're now going from singing showcases, now we're stepping into an arena. How we're gonna do this?
There you
Is
go.
this how we're gonna work with this? So
Yeah.
working with artists and working with older legacy acts has also shown me how to deal with people. So
Yeah.
it's been a training ground. I still am learning. I'm still not where I need to be, but we're getting there.
You stay a student though.
Stay a student. You have to.
Yeah.
You have
That's
to.
something that at least I picked up on that you just said is that your awareness was you're watching how other people interacted with other people.
Yes.
And I think that is a very valuable trait when people do that. If you look around and you see who can command presence without saying a word,
Yep.
there's something there.
Yep.
If someone can walk into a room and then the room shifts, there's also
There's
something
also
there.
something there.
And you have to be you were aware of it and be like, "Okay, I typically have an attitude but I don't want that."
No.
I don't want anyone to see my name come across the email and be like, "Oh, fuck, here we go again."
Yeah. Right.
You don't
Right.
want someone to walk in and then you feel or they feel a way about you that's not positive.
Right.
So you stayed in that space and you decided, "Okay, I have to adapt this characteristic, but that characteristic's
Mhm.
weird,"
Yeah.
and then decided that that's how you're gonna navigate it
Mhm.
now. So are there any tools that you use in those moments to make sure you stay cool? Because I think people forget that when we say we're chill, we're vibey most of the time,
Mhm.
but there's still that person in us that we could go left quick.
We
We can it can go left if we needed to, but
Yeah.
I have things that I do,
Yeah.
and I'm sure that you do. I would love to hear those things that you what do you do
Is this a PG
to
show?
stay
It's a
poised?
PG show?
You do whatever you
Okay.
want. You good. Yeah.
So weed, right? Okay.
Yep.
But outside of that, if I can't do that, you take a breath, you breathe,
Yeah.
right? When you
Yes, sir.
work, especially when you work with difficult people, you got to breathe. You got to take a step. And then you also got to know, you also have to have your fundamentals, right? There's
Mhm.
just certain things that you're just not going to do. There's certain things you're not going to take. There's certain things, no money's worth it. There's no money worth me s- crossing the line, right? No money is worth me dealing with this certain thing. And you have to have your boundaries. So this is my box, right? And I'm in my box. If somebody crosses that, then I have to make a decision. Am I gonna be hood Tim, right?
Right.
Or am I gonna be the bigger person and walk away? And some being the bigger person helps you with the next gig, right? And you always got to
Yes,
see
sir.
that. You always have to see the biggest thing is what keeps me always working as well is I know where my bread and butter comes from, right?
Mm.
It's not, you got to look past the gig. You have to look past what you're on right now. And you got to see the people that are always going to be working, right? The artist is always going to work for themselves, right? The artist is that's the artist. The artist is not going to
Yes.
change and go work on this other gig. You're not going to see them over here. You're not going to see them over here. Who you will see is the MD, the band members, the crew, the PM, the TM.
Yes.
Those are the people
Yes.
that revolve in the industry. That's the industry. The artist
Yeah.
is a cog in the industry, right? They're
Yes, sir.
they're just but the people that keep it going, those are the people that you have to realize and think about when you are on a gig. So that's what keeps me kind of dealing with people that are difficult is
Mhm.
knowing who I'm working with, right? So
Yep.
I I'm always, of course, spirituality is a big thing, right? You gotta have a center, whether you're a Christian, whether you're Muslim, you have to have a center. There has to be a spiritual being or something that you rely on that's
Yep.
bigger than you, right?
Yes,
And
sir.
so prayer is a big thing. Being dedicated to your craft is another thing, and learning that not everybody's going. You're not going to gel with everybody. You're not.
Yeah.
You're not. It's just unfortunately it's a people industry, right? So not everybody you cool with. People have different political views. People have
Yep.
different all kinds of stuff, and
Yep.
you gotta know when to, as the songwriter says, you gotta know when to fold them, when to hold them. You know what I'm saying?
There
You
you
gotta know
go.
when to walk
Yes,
away.
sir. Yep.
So sometimes a gig is not worth it, man. Sometimes you just gotta go. And so I've become very, very as I've gotten older, I've become very, very quick in making those kind of decisions, right? And I'll make those decisions before on the first phone call. When they call me for a gig, I'll know what I'm walking into. So I set my price for that. I also I also prepare myself. And you know how young your camp is by just couple conversations. Oh, this is gonna be that. This is gonna be that. And here we
Yep.
go.
Which
And
is
which
fine
is
as long as you tell me
fine.
up front,
Yeah.
we're cool.
Yeah. And
Yep. I'm with you.
some of the times they don't tell you, right? But some of the times
I
because from
know. Yep.
experience, you kind of know what you're walking into. You hear certain names, you hear certain okay, I got it,
Or certain words are
certain
not
words are
being
not
said.
being said, and you're like, all right, cool. We're going on the tour and it's 17 shows in 12 days, and you're like, hmm,
Hmm.
okay.
Yep. Right.
This
Right.
sounds a little different, right? This sounds like we're doing a couple tour days, and sounds like we're doing some stuff that's not going to be cool. But you know what?
There you go.
You have to you have to know how much you're going to take, what you're going to take, and where you're going to draw the line. And so for me, that has come with a lot of I've developed a lot of patience. and I've dealt with a lot of artists that are diva-esque or
Yeah,
Devo-esque, and
sure.
so you can't take it too personal, right? You gotta leave it on the stage, and you walk off the stage,
Yeah,
but you also have to have a line that, I'm a person, I'm a human, and you speak your truth. You don't have to be combative, but you just learn, if someone is being difficult, take a step back, you know.
yeah,
All right, cool. You say
yep,
your piece, and if they don't listen, then it's cool. I'm gonna do my job. And sometimes it's just that. Sometimes you're just going, you're just doing your job, you know.
that's it.
And like I said in the beginning of this thing, I've been very, very, very fortunate in my career to have very few of those just do my job, you know. But it's you gotta once you get there and you walk in and it's one of those and you kind of just be quiet and it'll sometimes you gotta let things naturally come. You can't force it. You can't force you gotta let your work speak for itself. And the biggest thing is you gotta let people rely on and trust in your work. And once your work speaks for you, you don't have to really say much, then
Yeah,
they'll start realizing, all right, I should really listen to him, and
yeah, yep,
sometimes after that a barrier will break down. But you can't, if you walk into a room and people are not personable, don't force it, just work. It'll come.
yeah.
It'll come.
I notice that being quiet kind of works out better
Being
sometimes.
quiet always works out better. Sometimes, sometimes you can't talk. Sometimes talking
Yeah,
it's not worth it. It's not worth it.
yeah.
So you gotta always learn when. Learn when. Sometimes you just gotta be that person in the room, especially sound, right? Especially audio. They don't really value audio until it's not there. That's the biggest thing.
Oh,
People do not value
whew.
audio until it's not around. And so
Yeah,
and sometimes it's like, sometimes it's the simplest of things, but you they'll know your worth when it's not right, right? And so you have to kind of step back a little bit and allow for people to trust in, again, your ability to do what you do, because we get hired, especially audio and technicians get hired for when things go wrong, not when they go right,
yeah,
right?
yep,
And so that's when people start to trust in you. When you have a terrible show or something's going wrong and you are calm under pressure, and because you know your stuff, you know where it's going
yeah,
and you know what you're doing, and you're able to pull out one of the roughest shows, and they'll look around, they're like, "Oh, wow, you really know what you're doing." Yeah. Yeah.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah,
yeah. And
yeah.
also, there's never been a time where panicking has served me.
No, no,
There's just never
no,
been a time
no.
where you just panic and then it all of a sudden goes right.
No, no, no.
It's
It
just not a
doesn't. It
thing.
doesn't because
Yeah,
you always, at that point in time when things go wrong, the only thing that you can rely on is your training. That's the only thing you can
exactly.
rely on. You can't rely on, well, this guy told me this. You have to rely on what you have put here, because
Right.
that's it. That's it. That's what you
Yeah,
fall back on. Those are the notes. Those are the times that you've spent, learning and learning your craft and learning stuff. I mean, as a drummer, you're playing, everything is great, and then all of a sudden your snare head breaks, so that you put a hole
yeah.
through your kick drum. Like, what do you do? Like, you know, and it's
You gotta know what you
experience.
gotta
You
do.
gotta know what you gotta
Yep.
do, and it's experience. And it's like, this is the
Yeah,
reason why, I have 2 and 3 of these, or this is the reason why I do this. It's the reason why I do this. It may seem like it's crazy, but I've been
yeah.
in places where I broken a snare head, and what do I do? I mean,
Yep,
so yeah.
absolutely. Now you talked about something where they don't value until it's not there, which is it brings you to a question that I know a lot of my front of the house engineer friends have been battling:
Mhm.
social media.
Mm.
Y'all are up against an impossible task of social media right now, and I would
Mhm.
love to hear how you're conquering that because I know you're getting the feedback from artists, "Oh, I couldn't hear my vocal
Mm.
in this TikTok video,"
Mm.
or "This wasn't here in this TikTok video,"
Mhm.
but you know in the room, that shit was smacking.
Mhm.
You know.
Mhm,
So how do you navigate that right now? Because you are up against
mhm,
TikTok videos of
100%,
20,000 people in this arena,
100%.
and how are you dealing with that?
Uh, so you make minor adjustments, but then you just leave it where it is, right? Because you cannot, again, the tape doesn't lie. So if someone tells me, well, I can't hear this, or the artist is saying, well, you know, I watched this video and I can't hear this. Here's my two mix. You tell me what you think. You like this? Because this is what I'm putting out in the house. I can't battle someone with an iPhone 8 in section 400 at the top,
Right.
with their hand over this phone recording. I
Yes.
can't battle that. I cannot battle that. I can't battle someone sitting in front of the subs holding the phone up. I can't battle it. What I can
Right.
do is here's my two mix. Give me notes off this, right? Because this is
Okay.
what's going out. Again, you have some artists that like it. You have some artists that don't. Some artists will never listen to your two mix, right? And they will always give you notes from based off what someone did. I had an artist that would send me the videos. How about that?
Yep.
Here it goes. Listen to that.
I've seen it all.
Here it
Yeah,
goes.
yeah,
Listen to
yeah.
that. Listen to that. And so, okay, cool. Now I make adjustments. Like my mix, I do make adjustments. Sometimes I'm recording. Sometimes I'll take up my phone and I'll record. I'll put my phone out so that I can hear what the room is doing. Because a lot of times, again, you get stuck in your bubble as an engineer, and oh, no, this is it. No, sometimes you got to really, and so you got to make it translate, right? But you can't fight it. You can't fight social media. You can't fight what people put up, and you can't down yourself. The only thing that you can do is when you mix the record, does it sound like the record? And if you can get
Yeah.
it to sound like the record, it'll translate everywhere, at least a little bit, right? And then you can make your adjustments off that. And then you just gotta just take it and leave it, man. It is what it is. You
Yeah.
can't beat it. Can't beat social media. You can't beat the person with the weird iPhone. You can't beat the person holding the phone weird. You can't beat that. You just gotta
Yeah.
you gotta, hey, it is what it is. We here.
Sure.
We here. You
Are
know?
you doing anything when it comes down to, okay, there's like, yo, we gotta go into arenas and you get to actually design your system
Hmm.
usually.
Hmm.
Are you doing Jesus, anything like that with like your system tech or anything like
Hmm.
that to help
Yes,
prevent that kind of
yes.
stuff? Okay.
So, I we tune the rigs. I talk to my system tech. I try to know what they're doing. I try to know I tell them what I'm going for, what I want. I want a balanced
Yeah.
system, and we go from there, and we just work systematically. And I work with them. Sometimes, what I always do, my mix is pretty much done before I leave rehearsal. That's the mix.
Mhm.
Once we leave rehearsal, well, we're hearing out those speakers. Hey, MD approves it, we're good, right? Now we go into the arena, and now I have to translate that mix every night. I don't remix the show. A lot of guys make that mistake, and they get into the arena and then they're start turn faders and do things. And no, 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 no. You got the mix. Let's
Yeah.
deal with the speakers now. Let's deal with the room. Let's see how we can make this translate. And so system design, system engineering is a very vital part. They're my tech, right? Um, as I always liken it, I call the techs like a band tech or drum tech or guitar tech or bass tech. They're your caddy, right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
They're the people that they could probably play the show. They're probably really good musicians and they could probably do it.
Usually they are.
You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? But
Yep.
they're there in that position to help you and give you insight that you probably don't know. Same thing with my systems
Yeah.
engineer. He really good. Or he may suck. Who knows?
Right.
But I never, again, I don't leave anything up to anybody. I try to know as much as I can. That's not my job, but I try to know so I can talk in his lingo as well. And
Sure.
so he helps me. He's the other half of my mix. If I'm doing front of house, he's the other half of my mix. He's the guy who's like, okay, cool. This is my mix. Now let's make this translate. What do I need to do? Am I sending you too much low end, or am I sending you too much? Do I need to shave? What do we need to do? And now, okay, now let's make this go. Do we need to add more speakers? Right? Um, we're not adding more speakers to make it louder. We're adding more speakers for
Right.
coverage so I can bring it down. Right?
Ooh,
That's a bigger
yeah,
thing. Mixing loud is not good, right? Mixing dynamically is great. If you can
for
dynamically
sure.
mix, you're cool. But
You
mixing
win,
loud is
yeah,
not a thing. And
yeah,
so a lot of people miss the dynamics in mixing. It's they no, just back up and let things grow and let the room speak for itself, because there's a thing of letting the room get away from you. And sometimes the room will overpower your mix. And then now you start fighting the room. And once you start getting, I've been to some concerts, man, it's 115 and you're like, golly, and then you just hear it
sheesh,
coming back and it's just in the mics and it's in everything. It's a lot of space and you're trying to push air. So hey, why don't we add more speakers so we can bring the volume down so the coverage is better? Because instead of me trying to get to the back of the room with 12 speakers, let's put 15 and shoot them to the back of the room, and or let's do more coverage so that each area has their own coverage and I don't have to mix so much, so heavy.
right.
So it's just things like
So what
that.
happens
Yes.
when your PM says no because of budget?
uh your PM says no because of budget, then okay, let's revisit, let's go back again. Now we got to say, what are we going to do, right? So here's now we're having that conversation. Okay, we're in the budget conversation. Okay, you can't add, and it's we're stressed out. We can't do anything else. Okay, so where could we cut things? What could we cut
Okay,
that we can add this? Or if we can't cut anything, I still got to bring it down. Right. So now I got to go back
right.
to my mix and I got to bring it down. And the people in the back ain't going to hear. I don't know what to tell you, but I'm not going to blast these people to get back there. And
For sure.
and again, that's where relationships come in, because
Yep.
your PM may say we don't have the budget for it. Okay, cool, well, let me talk to the sound provider and see what we can do. Let's talk to the sound
Mm,
company because I have a relationship with them and they may hook me up, who knows, because again,
right, they might bless it. Yeah,
everybody wants that bottom line, they want that dollar, right? Everybody wants to deal with that. So that's
yeah.
that's the that's the that's the biggest thing. Yeah.
Respect, man.
Yeah,
I
man.
love that. I know I gotta get you out of here because you got a sound check
I got a
here.
sound check I got 2
But
minutes.
anyway, man, can you tell people what you got coming up, and then also any of your socials and things like that? We'll also include it in the descriptions in the show notes as
Yeah.
well, so people can immediately get in contact. But I would love for you to talk about that, and then also any advice that you would have for any sound engineers that are looking to get to your position and work next to you. You're not taking his job, but you'll work next to him.
Yeah.
Any advice you might have for those younger people wanting to get into that space?
Yeah. Uh, advice first, learn your craft. Learn your craft.
Mm,
Always be a student of the game. Don't be afraid to ask questions. Don't be afraid to learn. Learn everything. Don't do things just because someone else is doing it. Learn it for yourself and to see if that even applies to what you're doing. Have your own style. Work at your own pace, right? And don't try to don't try to be anybody else. Be yourself, right? Be yourself, because you're great in who you are. And once you realize that, you'll achieve what you're supposed to achieve, right? Your path is your path. So,
yeah,
but always starts off with being a student of the game, always learning, always striving to be better, figuring out what you can do to be better. How can you deal with things differently? Go back home, let it let it fester, try to work it
yeah.
out, and do it right. Uh, what I'm working on now, and which is I'm working on again. I'm teaching, so I'll be in the future shortly. I have a webinar that I'll be teaching audio, but product from a production aspect, right? The Not only just mixing, but the whole thing, the whole production, how you fit into being in a production, how you fit, what your
Wow.
job is in the scheme and the big picture, right? So
Yeah.
I'm going to be teaching that, I'm gonna have some classes coming up. I have some master classes coming up, so stay tuned. I got some stuff
Yeah, yes,
coming. I got some
sir.
stuff coming. I have some really cool ideas, and I'm gonna be talking to you about it. I'm gonna have you
Yeah,
on
yeah,
there,
yeah.
so it's gonna be. I feel like now is a time to give back, and
Yes, sir.
especially now that I'm working and I'm still in the industry. I don't want to be that guy who's like, well, 15 years ago, no, it's like I'm here now. So this is what we're doing now. I would like to teach that now.
It's funny
uh
because it seems to be that is the wave, man,
That's
and
the
it's no
it's
disrespect
no
to any
disrespect,
OG out
but
there.
it's like kids don't want that, right? They want what's happening right
Right.
now. So let's
Yes.
give back now. Now is the time to give back. So that's what I'm doing. And then socials is Audio Buddy Pro on Instagram. That's all I got right now is my Audio Buddy.
Yeah, don't type in his name because you won't
You
find
will
it.
not find me.
We were trying to research and just do my history before you got on here. I'm like, yo, this I said, yo, Tim is one of my homies. I said, this fool, if you don't get something out here so we can, boy, that's all right. I did my research and got my stuff together
Yeah,
anyway, even
you
though
did
you
your
didn't want to
thing.
help
You did.
nothing out.
So let me tell you the story about Audio Buddy, right? Let me tell you how I got it.
Okay.
I was doing the BET Awards with this artist that will remain unnamed, and but they did not listen to me
It's,
at all. They didn't listen to anything that I was telling them. None of my experience worked. This is speaking about a artist that does not. You were saying a difficult artist. This was a difficult artist. Did not listen to
copy that.
anything that I told them to do. And so they wound up doing their own thing. They wound up bringing in different set of ears that they use for rehearsal. They wanted a different mic. We had to give them a mic right before the show started, right before they were going to get up to do their segment in the BET Awards. And it was terrible. And they wound up getting up there and they flubbed so bad. Like it was really bad. Like one of the worst performances that I've seen. And
Okay.
they get off the stage, and as they're walking off the stage, his friends have him on Instagram Live, and he's walking off stage, and they're saying, he says, "Where Audio Buddy at?" It was in a derogatory way. Where Audio Buddy at?
Yeah, of
Where's
course.
where Audio Buddy at? And
Of course.
so the comments started flying. Of course, Audio Buddy get fired, Audio Buddy this,
Right. Yeah, yeah, yeah. All
Audio
that.
Buddy da 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 da, and it was just, and I'm pissed. I'm so mad, bro. I'm like, so I wound up calling my boy and I'm like, I'm hot. I am like, yo, this is
Yeah.
messed up, you know. And I talked to the management. I was like, he can't do this. This is like my livelihood. And I realized nobody knew who I was. Nobody knew that it was Tim. They just knew Audio Buddy. And I was like,
Yeah.
how can I turn this in my favor? So then what I did was I took that and I went to LegalZoom and typed in Audio Buddy, and it nothing was populated. So I said, okay, Audio Buddy Productions. And so I created a
Wow.
company called Audio Buddy Productions. And so now we train people and we send out
Yeah.
audio buddies, and it's been great. It's been great.
That's genius, bro.
It's been great.
That's genius.
So Audio Buddy Pro. Yeah.
I
Yeah.
love
Yeah.
that, man. Well,
Yeah.
we'll definitely put all that stuff in the description.
Yeah,
Please reach
please.
out. And you say you do train.
I do
So
train.
like,
I
can
do train. So you
people
can you can definitely, hit me at any point in time. We'll talk and we'll get you in a position that you can be great and that you can be working, because that's what the key is, right? That we need people in the
Yeah,
industry. So for sure, always hit
absolutely.
me.
I love it. Do they have to be just real quick, do they have to be anything do they have to have a baseline? Or do you dealing with them from beginner level, or do they need to come to you with
No, this seminar is going to be starting at the beginner level, but there's also master classes. There's also going to be, if you want, just ask questions. If you're just getting into the industry, hit me. If you've been in the industry for a minute, hit me. There's a
love that.
plethora of information, and if I don't know it, I have a whole network of guys that know it. And
There you
I
go.
have some really cool guys and some big hitters, man, that we all learn from. So yeah.
That's fire, man. Well, Tim, appreciate you being here, man.
Appreciate
It
you,
means the
man.
world to
Thank
me.
you so very much
Truly,
for
it
having
means
me
a
on
lot.
this is great. I couldn't miss this for the world. I'm sorry that we had to keep rescheduling, but we
Uh,
made it work.
That's what I do. That's why everything's gonna be virtual, so
Yeah,
people can hop on wherever they
yeah,
are in
it's
the
dope.
world, and we can make it
It's
happen.
dope.
But I was thinking about the idea. I'm like, if I do anything in person, it's not gonna go well because we're never home.
Never
Like
home.
I'm never
Yeah,
home.
yeah,
You're
yeah, yeah,
never
yeah,
home.
yeah,
No one's ever
yeah,
home.
yeah.
So this is amazing, man. But thank you, Tim. I appreciate
Absolutely.
it, man.
Thank
Have
you
an
for having me.
amazing show tonight.
Yes, sir. Thank you. Thank you so much,
My
man.
dog. Thanks
Yes,
everybody.
sir. Take care, y'all.